Washington favorites, total 6 shaded to the under in this game. A very good response game, if you will, from the Washington Capitals in their last game against the New Jersey Devils. A much better performance for Washington, especially defensively, where we saw the Capitals really have a tough time, back-to-back losses against the New York Rangers and then to the New York Islanders. And the team just wasn't very sharp defensively. We were seeing breakdowns left and right in their own zone. Just way too many high-danger chances allowed. And the Capitals made a concerted effort to really improve at that end of the ice going into Friday night's win against New Jersey. They did that. Vitek Vanacek was very strong in net as well. Had to make a couple of good saves in overtime. That got back to a more tighter checking brand of game. And, of course, Dmitry Orlov with the overtime winner to give the Capitals a 2-1 win over the Devils and to make Washington a perfect 7-0 this season against the New Jersey Devils. So they have just found a way to win against this team every single time. We'll see if that continues today in this game against the Devils this afternoon. I don't have a real strong opinion on this game right now. It's probably not a game I'm going to bet. I'm tempted by Jersey, but Jersey's just had no success whatsoever against this Capitals team. And with Washington having a really much better defensive game the last time out, if they play that way again, New Jersey's going to have a tough time scoring. It's just that's the way it's going to be. Because if the Devils run up against a team that plays very solid defensive hockey, it becomes very, very difficult for the Devils to generate the kind of offense they need to be able to have success. So my first thought was New Jersey, but they've had no success against Washington. I'm going to pass this game altogether. Next game is Columbus taking on Florida. Florida minus 180, home favorites, total 5.5, shaded slightly to the over in this game. Cashed a ticket last night with Florida in regulation against Columbus, and they got the job done. And I'm probably coming right back to that same bet here in this game. Florida in regulation. It's a little bit higher than it was yesterday, but still you get a pretty decent minus 120 price with the Panthers in regulation in this game. I think it's a pretty good situation for Florida to sweep this Columbus team. The Jackets have real issues right now. Offensively, we've seen them struggle to score goals. I think night in and night out with their goaltending, Merzlikins and Korpisalo, it's not necessarily a tandem I have an utmost amount of confidence in right now. They've been sort of fighting the puck all season, not making the saves that they should be. And it looks like it could be Korpisalo back in net for Columbus, and he's had a pretty disappointing season by his standards. Let's not forget how well he played last year, and especially in the bubble during playoff time. He was exceptional for the Columbus Blue Jackets, and it just hasn't been that same level of goaltending from him this season. You've got guys paid to put the puck in the net that aren't. You've got John Tortorella making several different players healthy scratches. It's just not a good environment right now. The coach is frustrated. The players are frustrated. They're not getting the results. And then you see this Patrick Laine dynamic, which is developing. Look, we know he's been pretty bad here with Columbus. I mean, he had a 44-goal season with Winnipeg, 4 straight years where he's gotten into at least 28 goals. And here with John Tortorella this year with Columbus, he has been non-existent. What's he got still? 1 goal in like 17 games or so. It's been absolutely brutal. You've got the Jackets general manager, Jarmo Kekalainen, saying we need him to use his size, and battle more for pucks along the wall, along the boards, go to the corners, get behind the net, use that size that you have to find a way to have a better opportunity to, make those, get those scoring chances, get those dirtier scoring area looks. He's not doing that enough. He's kind of like Ovechkin, although Ovechkin, no, I shouldn't say that. He's not kind of like Ovechkin. Ovechkin now is someone that will go to the tough areas to score. He'll go to the front of the net. He'll grab a loose puck in the corner. Patrick Laine just doesn't do that at all. He just sits there in the slot area at the face-off circles and just waits for someone to feed the puck so he can shoot it. He doesn't do any of the grunt work, this guy. So the Jackets, they've always been this hard, heavy, forechecking type of hockey team under John Tortorella. And I think Tortorella and the GM Jarmo Kekalainen, they want to instill some of this in Patrick Laine. Work for your chances, battle along the boards, go into the corners to dig out loose pucks, do all of the grunt work to put yourself in a better chance to score goals. That's what they're trying to get Patrik Laine to do. Well, here was Patrik Laine's response to that. I've never really been a guy who is playing in the corners or behind the net too much. I'm usually the slot area guy, looking for openings where I can receive the puck and shoot. That's what I'm good at. Translation, I ain't changing, bud. I ain't changing for anybody. So this is me. This is my game. I shoot the puck. I don't work hard to gain the puck. I don't work hard to retrieve the puck. I don't go into corners to battle. I don't go along the boards to battle and win a physical one-on-one battle to get a puck. That's not my game. It never has been. So screw you. I'm not changing. That's what he's saying. If you translate that quote, that's what he's saying, Patrik Laine, that he's not changing for shit. And, if you're Tortorella and you're the GM of the Jackets and you're pounding your head against the wall, trying to get this guy to play a different style that he basically has just said flat out, I'm not playing this way. Tough shit. That's basically what Patrik Laine is telling his coach, telling his organization right now. That's a terrible, terrible dynamic right now with this Columbus team. There's a disconnect. Tortorella, has looked almost disenchanted at times. There's times when his team plays like complete ass in a certain game. And oftentimes you're going to see Tortorella with a little fire, a little anger, and he's just like him and Hahn through the press conference. It's just a bad situation, I think, Columbus right now. I think the looks of a situation that I don't want to say Tortorella's lost the dressing room. I think it's not all that. I think it's the players are, first of all, they're struggling. They see this Patrik Laine that they brought in to score goals. He's not doing a damn thing. And it's just killing this team's confidence right now. So I just think all around, it's a Columbus team that's borderline, getting closer and closer to being a toxic situation, if you ask me. And that's definitely concerning for me. Florida, we know the much better team. It probably will be Korpisalo in net for the Jackets, or at least it's projected to be that way. It was Bobrovsky last night. He was pretty good against his former team. It might be Chris Driedger, but I like Chris Driedger. He's more than capable, more than serviceable. For me, I'm coming back to Florida in regulation here in this game against Columbus. But I just had to throw that in. I couldn't believe it. Like, you talk about the arrogance, by the way, of Patrik Laine to say, you know what, this is my game, I'm not changing. Yeah, but that's why you're a one-dimensional player, man. That's why you're just looked at as a guy with a great shot and a great release. Where's the work ethic? Where's the team commitment? Where's the buy-in? Where's the putting yourself in a position, to maybe win a tough battle on the boards? Where's willing to pay the price? Where's willing to sacrifice for your teammates? Where's all of that shit? Where is it? I don't see it. I don't see it on a nightly basis from him. I don't. So that's a pretty damn arrogant statement for him to come back at Tortorella and Jarmo Kekalainen and say that, that this is my game, I'm not changing. Well, your game could be better. All right? Your game, you act like your game is just phenomenal. You're this phenomenal player that can't get any better. It's good as it is. No, it's not as good as it is. You don't compete hard enough on a lot of games, Patrik Laine. You don't. Time to up the compete level. Time to get on board. It's almost like this is an impossible relationship right now, the way it's broken down, I think, with Laine and this Jackets team. Like, any thoughts that probably he's re-signing there long-term have gone out the window. And they're certainly going to go out the window as long as John Tortorella is coaching there. Because I already think, and John Tortorella, who doesn't normally be reserved and normally doesn't bite his tongue, well, guess what? I'm sure there's some things he'd like to say right now about the way things are going with Laine, and he's just not going to say it because he's trying. You can tell that that's the one thing about Torts. He's trying to, and just trying to stop himself from saying something that he really wants to say. You can tell. But I think he's getting to that point where, I think the coach has had it with Laine already, and I think Laine just isn't taking at all to the coaching of Tortorella. And of course, Tortorella's benched him in a few games already for third periods and for overtimes. So it's just like an absolute mess right now, and a bad situation with Laine with the Jackets. And it's festering and filtering down through the rest of the team, and it's affecting their performance in a bad way as well. So bottom line here is you stick with the team that's playing good hockey, the better team. To me, that's Florida here. I might bet the over as well in this game if it's Korpisalo. If it's not him, I'll probably leave that alone, but I do lean to the over as well, 5.5. Although I'll tell you what, overs in general lately and overs on Sundays the last few weeks in the NHL have not been doing well. So I might tread carefully. Like I did pretty well with sides yesterday with my NHL card, and the totals which were all overs, which were just a disaster yesterday in the NHL. So I may need to stay away and at least pick my spots more and more when it comes to totals. But I do lean to the over in that game. Dallas and Carolina. The next game on the slate, Carolina minus 165 home favorites. The total 5.5 shaded to the under in this game. Cashed a nice winner with Dallas yesterday. I like the spot for them. They were getting a plus 145 price tag, even plus 150 in some spots. They take care of the Carolina Hurricanes 3-2. Really good win for Dallas. Dallas is, look, for the last 10, 15 games, if you look at expected goals margins and expected goal for percentage, all those advanced numbers for Dallas, they're all getting better, which tells me that the team performance is getting better for the Dallas Stars. And look, this is where the rubber meets the road for the Dallas Stars. They said that this road trip was going to be a significant one for them in their hopes to try to be a playoff team. They knew that this was going to be an important stretch of games, and they're playing well to start this road trip. 2-1. They split with Nashville. I thought they could have won the first game as well against Nashville, and then they beat Carolina 3-2 last night. Unfortunately for Dallas, because of Anton Khudobin back on the COVID-19 protocol list, you have no choice if you're Rick Bowness. You got to start Jake Ottinger again for the second straight day. I don't necessarily love the idea of backing a team with the same starting goaltender 2 straight days and 2 straight games. That's normally a negative situation long-term from a betting perspective. So that does concern me a little bit for Dallas. Ottinger having to play 2 games in a row. Carolina off a loss has been very good. I still think at this price, I'm tempted again to take Dallas. And let's not forget, Carolina did lose back-to-back home games just recently to Columbus. All right, the Jackets went into Raleigh here in Carolina, and they beat the Hurricanes 2 games in a row on this Carolina home ice. So, if Columbus can beat Carolina 2 in a row in Carolina, in Kakalaki, why can't the Dallas Stars, who are actually starting to play some better hockey? So I do lean to the Stars again. I don't know if I'll get there, though. The idea of them on a back-to-back with the same goalie worries me against a Carolina team that can score. I think it'll be James Reimer in net for Carolina. Peter Mrazek is also very, very close to returning for the Hurricanes. And there is talk that he might even be back today and be cleared to play, but it's not a for sure yet. I think with Nedeljkovic starting last night and them losing that game, you're probably looking at either a returning Peter Mrazek or James Reimer being in net here for this game for the Carolina Hurricanes. But I do lean a little to Dallas. If it's Reimer versus Ottinger, I might play an over here because yesterday's game barely stayed under. I don't think Ottinger will be quite as sharp playing back-to-back days. And Reimer, they lost to Chicago in his last start, 4-3. I've always thought Reimer's a little bit not quite as good as Nedeljkovic has been, and certainly as Mrazek, who is on the verge of returning. So I might get to the over if Reimer is confirmed, I should say, in net for the Hurricanes. So I lean to Dallas. I lean to the over. Haven't locked anything in yet. We'll have to wait and see the goalie situation for Carolina. But I do lean Stars over in Stars and the over in that game. Toronto and Calgary. We've got the Toronto Maple Leafs minus 150 road favorites. Total 5.5, 6 across the board. This one, I'm very, very reluctant to take Calgary in this game, but I am going to take Calgary in this game. Plus 130 is the current price with them. The Leafs have already confirmed that Michael Hutchinson will be in net as they're going to rest Jack Campbell for presumably the second of the back-to-back games against the Calgary Flames, which takes place Monday night. So it's going to be Jack Campbell rested tonight. It's going to be Michael Hutchinson in net for the Leafs tonight. It just makes sense from a spot perspective that this is a vulnerable spot for Toronto. And look, Toronto's playing great. They're playing outstanding, amazing hockey right now, no question. They're coming off back-to-back wins against the Winnipeg Jets. In fact, that was the first time all season the Jets have lost back-to-back home games in regulation all season long. It's not an easy team to go against right now, Toronto, but this is just a a tricky spot all around. You're off those 2 big games against the Jets. Now you're facing struggling Calgary with Michael Hutchinson in net, who, let's be honest, in terms of drop-offs from one goalie to the next, and I'm sure Alex B. Smith, who has his goalie charts and depth charts and assigns a rating between the first goalie, the second, and the third goalie with each team. That's a pretty big drop-off when you go from the way Jack Campbell is playing right now to Michael Hutchinson. So, and to be honest with you, I thought the Flames played pretty well, even in the 3-2 loss to the Edmonton Oilers on Friday night. I thought they played a much better game than they had recently. There were times they took the play to the Oilers. Mike Smith had to be very good in net, which he has been lately. It was a decent effort from Calgary, even though they didn't get the win and even though they didn't get the 2 points to show for it. I'm on Calgary here at plus 130. It's just one of those spot plays for me that stands out, where you've got Toronto off the big 2 wins against the Jets, 2 big games in the standings as well. And now you're facing a Calgary team that, yeah, they've struggled, but they played a little bit better against the Oilers. I thought even Gaudreau and Monahan were a little bit more noticeable in that game. They're absolutely desperate. This has got to be a sense of urgency for this game tonight for the Calgary Flames, knowing that they've got to somehow try to track down the Montreal Canadiens for that 4th and final playoff spot in the North Division. And they got some help from the Ottawa Senators last night, who beat Montreal to help out this Calgary team. But definitely, maybe Toronto's too good, and even with Hutchinson in net, they still find a way. But I think based on the goalie situation and Toronto off the big games against Winnipeg, if they're ever going to have a little bit of a flat spot, let down, just not be as sharp, not be as locked in, it might be tonight against Calgary. So I am looking toward the Flames here at plus 130. And again, the price is a big part of it. I'm not in love with taking Calgary to pick them. I'm not in love with obviously laying a price with Calgary when they're favored, but they're getting plus 130 on their home ice, a Toronto team in a dubious spot, just a little bit, with a goaltender that I don't trust. So for me, it's Calgary here, plus 130. I'll take the shot with the Flames. In a perfect scenario, Calgary will win tonight, and then the Leafs, I'll take them tomorrow night in the rematch against Calgary when Jack Campbell's in net, who, of course, is still undefeated as a starting goaltender this season and has been absolutely sensational for the Leafs. So that's what I'm hoping for. Let's get the perfect world here. Calgary wins tonight, and then I'll probably come back and back the Toronto Maple Leafs tomorrow night in the rematch against the Calgary Flames. All right, final game, Arizona, Anaheim. We've got Arizona minus 130, road favorites, total 5.5, shaded to the under. I am on the over in this game, 5.5 at a good plus price. You can get plus 115, plus 120 with over 5.5 in this game. Look, Arizona has been suddenly an over machine in recent games. I believe they're 6-1 to the over, this Arizona Coyotes team in their last 7 games. They've found their offense. Connor Garland, Clayton Keller, Phil Kessel. These are guys that you need them all season long to be getting it done offensively for Arizona. These are the guys you're supposed to count on. And for a large part of the season, they hadn't been producing offensively at a good enough, reasonable level for the Coyotes, but they're all finding the back of the net. Phil Kessel is on probably the best surge of offense he's been on all season right now. That's a good sign for Arizona. They've gotten their goal scoring going, of course, because of the fact that they've still got their top 2 goaltenders out due to injury, Darcy Kemper and Antti Ranta. It also means they're giving up some more goals lately in games, this Arizona team. And that's the perfect recipe for why Arizona's cashed overs in 6 of their last 7 games. You've got a team that's played or scored better. Their offense has come to life in recent games, but with their goaltenders out, they've had trouble keeping the puck out of their own net. Aiden Hill's been okay. He hasn't been great. And then, of course, behind him, you've got guys that are totally unproven commodities at the NHL level. So you put in the fact that their 2 goalies are out, their defense has taken a step back, but their offense has certainly improved in recent games. And that's how Arizona ends up with a 6-1 run to the over in their last 7 games. I think that has a chance to continue tonight. The one thing that does concern me, and it's probably why I may not back Arizona in particular, is John Gibson might be back tonight for the Anaheim Ducks. He has missed the last few games due to a lower body injury. It's been Ryan Miller and Anthony Stolarz splitting the starting duties for the Anaheim Ducks since John Gibson has been out. But there is a good chance that, not a good chance, but a chance at least that Gibson is back tonight. We'll have to wait and see on that. Nothing has been confirmed as of yet in terms of the Anaheim starting goaltender. But regardless of that, I do like the over. Ride this Arizona over streak right now. They've cashed overs in 6 of their last 7 games. And when you're talking about the price with this over, it's 5.5 at plus 120, which is something you're just not going to see very often. And again, the game went over the total the other night between these two teams when they played on Friday. Game won by Arizona. I think we'll see more of the same here. I lean to the Coyotes as well. I still think they're a little bit the better team than Anaheim. And certainly for Arizona, they're battling for their playoff lives. So they've got to get 2 points when you're playing a team like the Arizona Coyotes, or when you're playing a team, I should say, like the Anaheim Ducks. So definitely I look at this game, and I think it's a situation where we could see the Arizona Coyotes win it. But more than anything, I like the game to go over the total here, 5.5 plus 120. All right. Yes, Brian Watson, who's in our chat as we're recording this show live, saying too many boring, low-scoring games. It was that way yesterday. No question about that. I am going to try to scale back, pick my spots a little bit more in terms of overs. But I do like that Arizona-Anaheim over. I might have smaller bets on the Dallas Carolina over, as well as the Columbus, Florida over. But the Arizona one's the one I like probably more than the rest when it comes to the totals here on this Sunday NHL card. All right, that is the Sunday NHL card. We've gotten through analyzing and breaking down every single game from a betting perspective. Before we get to best bets, just another reminder. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up for an account, use the promo code THPN. Great time of year to be using DraftKings. We've got daily NHL and NBA as we come down the stretch of the regular season. We've got Major League Baseball now every day, national championship game in the NCAA tournament. I know the NFL draft is coming up later this month, and I know they'll have draft props as well. This DraftKings Sportsbook app. So if you're interested in, over under what selection each player gets drafted, you'll be able to bet those kind of props, number of players drafted from a particular conference, Big Ten, SEC, all that stuff. You'll probably be able to get those at DraftKings as well. So make sure you sign up for a DraftKings Sportsbook account, download the app, sign up for an account, use the promo code THPN. All right, it is time for best bet. Yes, I think I will like the over if Gibson's in net still, because keep in mind, Gibson's been out for a while. Sometimes you're not sharp that first start back. So to me, the over is a confirmed 100%. I will be on that regardless of who's in net for Anaheim. I'd probably like it more if it's Miller or Stolarz in net for Anaheim rather than Gibson, but Gibson may not be sharp first game back in a few. So I still like the over. And again, I think Anaheim can score a little bit as against Adin Hill and whoever. I would expect Adin Hill to be in net again for Arizona and still be able to find the back of the net. All right, it is time for best bets for this best bet, I should say, for this Sunday NHL card. Not a lot to choose from. In fact, I'm going to go right back to that game we just talked about. It was tough. I was thinking Florida in regulation as my best bet as well, but I'm going to go with Arizona Anaheim over 5.5 plus 120. Let's go with that. Good price. Arizona 6-1 to the over in their last 7 games. I think that continues here. It's Ranta and Kemper, the top 2 goalies for Arizona, still aren't close to returning, so it'll be probably Adin Hill in net. For Anaheim, Gibson might return, but it's not confirmed, and if it's not him, it's going to be Ryan Miller or Anthony Stolarz again. I think Arizona's offense clearly in good form, and even with Gibson in net, I think Arizona could be able to take advantage because Gibson hasn't played in a few games. He may not be right on top of his game and not have his A game in him in the first game played for him in a little bit of time out due to that injury. So I think we'll see enough goals, and I like the value here to bet an over 5.5 at plus 120. You don't see that every day. Let's go with Arizona, Anaheim, over 5.5 plus 120. Now that's my best bet for this Sunday NHL card. And that'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. We should have the entire crew back in the saddle tomorrow on Monday. Looking forward to that. Thanks to everyone for tuning in live on YouTube and downloading the podcast. And a reminder, if you can't watch the show live on YouTube Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, Sunday, noon Eastern, to download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms. So that'll wrap it up. I'm Ian Cameron. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Enjoy the games and good luck. Happy Easter Sunday, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow on Monday for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by the Hockey